I'm going to go over 2-point perspective. So this time we have 2 points instead of 1 point. We still have our horizon line, and you will always make vertical lines for the sides of your building. We will not have the horizontal lines like what we had done. They will always be diagonal lines, or also known as orthogonal lines, that go to the vanishing point. When we are creating our buildings, you always start in the center or wherever you want to say the block of your city to start. So I just chose the middle. Then I just give myself some guidelines of what would be that building, top and bottom. Then I'm going to draw other vertical lines for the 2 sides. So one on the right and one on the left. Then I would draw in the next building, so I have it butted up against this one. I draw one more vertical line. Then what I had done was, however tall I decided I wanted it to be here, I then drew that to the left side. The next one I made a little bit taller with another vertical line, drew that to the vanishing point, and then you'll notice I'm like, what do I need to do with my building right here? That is going to go to the right side. So the fronts of the buildings will go to that side. If I see a side part, it's going to go to the right, just like what this side did. So on the right side, I decided I want a little bit lower building. So I drew a vertical line again. This part goes to the vanishing point. I can see what would be the top of the building. That is going to go to the opposite side on the left. This one I'm making taller just so you could get the point of what a wall of a building would look like. So the height, it goes to the right side. This side now goes to the left side. And I would have vertical and vertical. For when I'm doing what would be the windows or doors, brick, siding, anything on this side is going to go with diagonal lines, or those orthogonal lines, to that vanishing point. The same as for here. So just like what we've done before is find the height of the door, I give myself a light guideline, so now I know the height of the doors for that entire side of the building. I would draw it out to here and then still use that same light guideline, so I would have the same height of doors here as I would here. Then plan out how many windows you would have. So think of, this is how tall my door is. So how many of those would be considered floors on my building? And then what we have here, you draw like your windowsill and stuff. That little part is going to go to that opposite side. If you want an awning, start with your vertical line, work yourself out a little bit from that right side, draw a vertical line, and then go to the left for that line that's up against the building, and then the other 2 that'd be out. You could also curve that little bit if you wanted. A sidewalk, you still have that little step down, and they are vertical lines on your little steps down. This part is not a horizontal line, because if we did that, like I'll do a few here, it's going to start looking funny. So you want this to actually go to that opposite side. This side is going to go to the opposite. If we have this, it's going to either look like it's going inwards or fallen downwards. If you did do buildings on this other part of your open paper, these would still be vertical, and then you would still use that as your vanishing point going back that way. And then you could even draw a line going across to get the height of the doors and all that. If you were doing a vehicle, start with a vertical part for your, say, the back of the vehicle, front of the vehicle, then go to the vanishing point for your different angles back and forth. Then, to do a country part, what I have started here is, once again, the 2 points that you have a right and a left, and all your buildings will have a vertical part. Just like the street corner part, this would be going one way and this would be going the other way. So before, we always started with a perfect square and triangle. This time you start at the corner, work your way towards the 1 point. Then decide how far you want that building to go out with a vertical line. Then you have to have those go to there and these go to the opposite side. Then you find your halfway. Then that is your triangle part. That little bit of an overhang is a must for your roof. This one is a different pitch because you can see it's above the horizon line. This one's below, so that's why this is angled going this way and this one's angled going this way. You also want to think of this part always going here. It's going to be a little bit steeper because it's almost lined up, whereas this one you'll see more of the side. So it will change of if I did this same thing up here, I would then see more of the side. So depending on the placement, you may see a little bit less or more of a side, right or left, depending on how you have it placed. You can also think of, do you have vertical siding like on these big machine sheds? Is the garage door going to be vertical ones to where it'd be like those doors that slide open? Or like our regular garage, are they where they go more of what we considered horizontal if we were looking straight on, but these would still go this way. They're not horizontal this time. Even if we were looking face on, that's how they would be. All of our siding is going to go to the vanishing point. Windows are going to the vanishing point that way. Here, it's opposite. When we're doing this part of our shingles, all these would be going back to the vanishing point, but you are still going to have your parallel part. So to do that, remember you're going to alternate them, but it's going to be parallel to this original part of the roof. So I have it here, I would skip, it's going to be here, and then I would skip. The next one is alternating them, so I'm going to angle them with the same angle here, and then it would continue back. And if I was to do them where some people are like, oh, these are vertical lines, that is what they would start looking like, and this is a no on that. So you want them to be parallel to that. Here, if we were doing just like the big pieces of the roof, they are parallel with that original line of the roof. There you can kind of see how that changes to where I'd see two parts of the roof. Here I would just see the one side of the roof. Driveways, because it's coming straight from here, I'd think of it's right here and here on the front, line that up to that vanishing point. But if I had a road that was driving in front of the house, if you were driving by, it's going to be going to that vanishing point. But here's my driveway that my tractors would drive into my machine shed kind of thing. That's going to be going back this way, so it's going to the left side. So those are a little bit different than when we were doing it the 1 point perspective. And then vehicles would be the same of like, it had to have that same angle. So it's not going to be a perfect square or rectangle. They're going to have them angled back and forth.